Hello students, the topic which we will cover in today's video is narration or direct and indirect speech. You are already familiar with the topic as it forms a part of IGP which you have been doing for a couple of years. We will have a quick recapitulation of narration before we come to its exercise. There are two ways whereby we can communicate, through direct speech or through indirect speech. When we quote the exact or actual words of the speaker, the sentence is said to be indirect speech. On the other hand, when we convey a gist or just report what the speaker said without quoting the actual words of the speaker, the speech is called indirect. For example, Raj said, "I am unwell." This sentence is indirect speech. Direct speech follows a comma and the reporting speech is written within inverted commas. When we convert this sentence into indirect, the commas and inverted commas gets removed and a conjunction that is added. And the sentence thus formed is, Raj said that he was unwell. Let's have a quick look at the rules for changing direct speech into indirect speech. Here are certain rules which are foremost important while we convert direct speech into indirect speech. So, the rule 1 says, when the reporting verb is in past tense, all present tenses of direct are changed into corresponding past tense. Take for example, John said, "I am very happy today." When we will convert this sentence into indirect, it will become, John said that he was very happy that day. Secondly, the tenses may not change if the statement is still relevant or if it is a universal truth. Take for example, the teacher said the earth goes around the sun. Since this is a universal fact, hence the tense of the reporting speech will not change and in indirect, the sentence will be, the teacher said that the earth goes around the sun. Thirdly, if the reporting verb is in present tense, the tense of the direct speech does not change. Take for instance, he says, "I have passed the examination." In indirect, the tense will not change, it will remain the same. He says that he has passed the examination. It can be noted here that the pronouns of the direct speech are changed so that their relation with the reporter is indicated. Take for instance, in a direct sentence, she said to him, "I believe in what you say." When we will convert this sentence into indirect, it will be like she said to him that she believed in what he said. Secondly, the words expressing nearness of time or place are generally changed into words expressing distance. The following are the examples of the same. Students, welcome to the second video on narration. I hope you must have followed and understood the concept of narration to an extent. It is important to understand it because it occupies a vital part in a language. It also brings variety to one's speech. So, let's get started. In the previous video, we talked about two ways in which we can communicate our ideas. The first is through a direct speech and second through the indirect speech. We also dealt with the usage of tenses, the personal pronouns and the possessives and their conversion. We also learned the changes of verbs denoting nearness of time and position. And not to forget the rules for changing a sentence from direct to indirect. We also summarize it with an exercise. Today we will specifically talk about three kinds of sentences and their usage in narration. The first are the interrogatives. While changing the narration of an interrogative sentence, the reporting verb is changed to ask, inquire, want to know, demand, etc. Inquire and demand are followed by the preposition of. The interrogative sentences are changed into assertive forms and the mark of interrogation is dropped. Note here that no conjunction is used if the sentence begins with a question, and the words like who, whose, whom, what, where, why, how, etc. These words take no conjunction. And lastly, if the sentence begins with an auxiliary verb, then the conjunction if or whether is used. Students, in front of you are few examples of interrogatives and the conversion from direct speech to indirect speech. Go through each example very carefully. The second kind of sentences that we will talk about are imperatives. Imperatives are sentences of command, request, order, advice, etc. The most important thing to remember here is the reporting verb is changed into order, request, or advice. The sentence stating order takes words like command, request, advice, etc. And the sentences stating request use words like beg, ask, implore, entreat, etc. The sentences dealing with advice incorporate words like advise, urge, exhort, etc. The verbs of a direct speech is changed into an infinitive. One thing to remember here is that if the direct speech begins with the words do not, the word not is placed before the to infinitive. Students, you have in front of you examples of imperatives. Study each example very carefully. Next, we deal with exclamations and optatives. Well, what is an exclamatory sentence? It is a strong feeling of emotions, of joy, of sadness, of sorrow. All these emotions are conveyed through an exclamatory sentence. It always has an exclamation mark at the end of it. On the other hand, an optative is a sentence that states a wish. In case of an exclamatory sentence, the reporting verb is changed to exclaim words like with sorrow, joy, fear, anger, applaud, regret, curse, cry out, or other words. On the other hand, in case of optative sentences, that are sentences stating wishes, the reporting verb is changed to wish, pray, long, yearn, earnest, desire, etc. The exclamatory or optative sentences is changed into an assertive sentence first before it is put into indirect speech. The thing to keep in mind here is that the conjunction that is used to introduce the reported speech. For the better understanding of exclamations and optatives, let's view the illustrations. Go through the direct speech and the conversion of the sentence into indirect speech.